For every project manager there is a question more important than anything else. Agile or Waterfall? Which one is better? Which one should I choose? The two schools of thought still divide the project management world. And early in your career, you will be asked to pick a side. And your answer will define the projects you work on, the teams you join, and the career you build. I'm Ivan and I've been in project management for over 15 years. I've created learning programs that have helped more than 300,000 students make their progress in the field of project management. So, Agile or Waterfall? Which team to join? This debate has followed me everywhere. People build careers defending one or the other. But here's the big problem with the Agile or Waterfall question. It is the wrong question. And I've seen it confuse not just junior people, but also senior managers and even CEOs, especially CEOs. In this video, you will learn what exactly is Waterfall project management, what is Agile project management. You will see a clear comparison between the two, and we will answer the question which one you should actually choose. But first, let's see where it all started. Waterfall. The 20th century was the era of big physical projects. Infrastructure, industry, even people in space. Massive undertakings that required thousands of people and years of coordinated work. From the success of these projects, best practices emerged. Planning, Gantt charts, critical path method, and many others. Organizations like PMI collected this knowledge and turned project management into a real profession. This period gave birth to what we call traditional project management, also known as Waterfall. The nickname Waterfall came from the idea of ordering work in a strict sequence, fully finishing one phase before starting the next, and then the next, and the next. Just like water flowing downward level by level. Waterfall. Let's say your project is building a house. First you lay the foundations. After that you erect the first floor. Only after you have the first floor, you're ready to move on to the second one, and so on. You cannot start from the roof. You can't build two floors in parallel. The sequential logic made perfect sense. By the way, if you're finding this helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe and hit the bell. We're going deep into project management, and there's a lot more coming. Another key principle of traditional project management was creating a very detailed plan before the work actually starts. And that was called predictive planning. The idea: predict exactly how to perform the project in the best way possible. Then follow the plan as closely as you can. Few changes, ideally none. Changes to the plan equaled problems. More money spent, more time lost, more work wasted. So Waterfall, with its sequential logic and predictive planning, was extremely successful for physical projects. But towards the end of the 20th century, things changed. Software solutions started entering the business world. Project managers applied the same Waterfall logic to software projects. It was the best practice of the day. The results were disastrous. The number of terminated software projects tripled. It was a real project management crisis. Why? Because software follows completely different rules. When you build a physical product, the sequence is fixed. You cannot build the second floor before the first, right? Physics decides the order. But in software, you can start from the roof if you want. There is no physical law forcing a sequence. And more importantly, what the customer actually wants is often unclear at the start. Business direction changes. Technology changes. A 2-year plan is outdated before you finish it. And locking teams to a fixed plan in that environment wasn't protecting projects. It was destroying them. And then in 2001, 17 practitioners sat down and wrote the Agile Manifesto. 4 values, 12 principles, one core idea. Deliver work that is genuinely useful to the customer, even when the plan changes along the way. Agile introduces two important alternatives to traditional project management. Adaptive planning. Instead of predicting every detail up front, you plan at a high level and let the plan evolve. Do some work, evaluate it, then plan the next phase in more detail. Adapt the plan to reality as it unfolds, rather than forcing reality to match an early plan. Second thing, iterative development. In traditional project management, work was sequential, one big phase A, then one big phase B, then one big phase C, and everything came together only at the very end. You design the entire house first, then you build the entire house, then you furnish the entire house. Only at the very end do you get something usable. The client waits the whole time. Agile proposed something fundamentally different. Instead of one big sequence, break the work into smaller cycles. Each one a mini version of the same ABC logic, but applied to a piece of the project at a time. Each of these mini cycles is called an iteration, and at the end of each one you have something fully working. Using the house analogy, the client can get a usable bathroom early in the project while the kitchen is still being designed. They can use it, give feedback, and that feedback can shape what comes next. Of course, we are talking about digital products, not a real standalone bathroom. Compare that to the first model, where the client sees nothing until the very last day. That shift from one big delivery at the end to smaller working deliverables throughout the project is the heart of the Agile approach. And in software, where you can actually use a piece of the product before the rest is finished, this changes everything. And it worked! The software industry stabilized. Agile grew, and then grew, and it grew more. It just grew too much. It got pushed into every industry, every context. Certifications, ceremonies, big bang adoptions across entire organizations. But many Agile projects started going wrong. Huge delays, over budgets. The practices were being followed without the principles behind them being understood. Between 2015 and 2020, a new phrase appeared: Agile fatigue. Businesses slowed down. Some stopped their Agile transformations entirely. The philosophy had been turned into a religion. Now, let's come back to the present and look at what each approach can actually offer us as project managers. So let's put the two approaches side by side and make this really clear. Two different tools, two different philosophies, two different definitions of success. Waterfall asks, did we deliver what we promised on time and on budget? Agile asks, did the customer get something they truly value? Neither question is wrong, but they are not the same question, and mixing them up is where most of the confusions start. Now, let's be honest about what each approach genuinely brings to the table. Waterfall. The biggest strength of Waterfall is predictability. Everyone knows what will be delivered, when, and for how much. That matters enormously to any business making a serious investment. You wouldn't hand someone $1 million and say, well, we'll do a few sprints and see how it goes. Boards need forecasts. Stakeholders need commitments. Waterfall gives you something solid to stand behind. Then there is control. Structured governance, clear accountability at every phase. You always know where you are, what has been done, and what comes next. And the following one gets overlooked. Comprehensive project thinking. Traditional project management makes the project manager accountable for everything, not just the product, everything. Scope, time, cost, quality, risk, procurement, resources, communication, stakeholders. All of it planned and managed as a whole. The project manager in a waterfall environment is not just a delivery coordinator. They are responsible for the full organism of the project. That level of accountability and structure is incredibly valuable. And for large, complex, high-stakes projects, it's not optional. Over many years, I have built a learning program around traditional project management that can help anyone start managing projects confidently. And it is among the highest rated project management courses available. If you want to go deep on how all of these elements come together in a real project, the link is below. Agile's biggest contribution is keeping the project close to reality. In a fast-moving environment, the ability to adapt is not nice to have. It is survival. Agile gives teams a structured way to stay close to what the customer actually needs, not what someone assumed they need 2 years ago. 3 concepts sit at the heart of this. Iterative. Instead of one big swing at the perfect final product, you work in cycles. Each cycle, you refine, you improve, you incorporate what you learned. The output gets better and better each phase. Incremental. You deliver value in working pieces throughout the project and not everything in one release at the very end. Remember the bathroom example from earlier. That fully working bathroom delivered at the end of the first iteration, that is an increment, a real usable piece of the final product, ready before the rest is finished. Stakeholders see progress. They can react. They can redirect early enough for it to actually matter. Proximity of delivery to decisions. In Agile, people who make decisions are kept close to the people actually doing the work. Think about it simply. The client who decides what the product should do is sitting next to the software engineer who is building it. So feedback is immediate. Misunderstandings get caught early. When something is going in the wrong direction, you find out in days, not after 2 years and $1 million spent. Together, these make Agile extremely powerful for any environment where the right answer is not fully known at the start. And the real-world frameworks that put these principles into practice, Scrum, Kanban, and others, are where it gets truly interesting. I have developed an online course dedicated to Agile and Scrum that goes deep into the topic through a real case study. If you want to strengthen your knowledge, the link is in the description. So which one do you choose? So which one of these is better? That's a ridiculous question, right? Both are fundamental tools. Both are used by professionals every day. And both are completely useless if you pick the wrong one for the job in front of you. Agile and Waterfall are exactly the same. The question is never which is better. The question is always which fits this situation. Here is how to think about it. Choose Waterfall when the deliverables are physical, tangible, or heavily regulated. The scope is well defined and unlikely to change, and when you have a fixed budget and a hard deadline that cannot move. You need to balance not just what you're building, but time and cost simultaneously. And stakeholders need confidence that all 3 are being actively managed together. Choose Agile when the output is difficult to fully define at the start. You are working in software, design, innovation, R&D. Anywhere discovery is part of the process. The environment is fast-moving and requirements will evolve. And when getting the outcome right matters more than hitting the original plan exactly. Simple, practical, and yet this is where most organizations get it wrong. Now, here is something that rarely gets said clearly enough. In the real world today, pure waterfall and pure agile almost do not exist. Most organizations are running something in between, whether they realize it or not. They have structured planning phases borrowed from traditional project management. They have iterative delivery cycles borrowed from Agile. They have formal governance in some areas and adaptive flexibility in others. This is called hybrid, and its adoption has been growing steadily across the industry. It's not a compromise. It's a recognition that real projects are rarely 100% one thing. Just look at the data. Hybrid is on the rise and it is already more used than Agile. After working with many organizations on exactly this question, helping them find the right approach for the specific context. What I see in practice is this. The companies that do it well are not the ones who picked a side. They are the ones who understood the principles of both and built something that fit their reality. Which, if you think about it, is exactly what this video has been about. So, two tools, both fundamental, neither better than the other. The professional knows when to use which one. So don't pick a side, understand the principles. That is what makes you not just a project manager, but someone who actually delivers. If this helped you think about project management differently, subscribe to our channel. There is a lot more of this coming. And if you want to go deeper on traditional project management or on agile frameworks like Scrum and Kanban in practice, the links are below. See you in the next one.